Imagine working harder than everyone else in the company, being available before sunrise, after dinner, even during weekends. And when you finally ask for fair pay, your boss looks you in the eyes and says, "You're replaceable." What they didn't realize was that the one person they were exploiting was the only person who truly understood how their entire company worked. And 3 weeks later, every employee received an email that would cost the company a fortune. If you've ever been overworked, underpaid, or treated like your effort didn't matter, this story is going to hit very close to home. So before we begin, hit like, subscribe, and settle in, because this is one of the most satisfying workplace revenge stories you'll ever hear. Let's begin. Let's call our main character Bob. Bob wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, he wasn't political. He was an IT guy. The kind of person who quietly fixed problems before anyone even noticed they existed. Since childhood, computers made sense to him. While other kids played outside, Bob took apart old PCs just to understand how they thought. By adulthood, he could walk into a broken system and see invisible connections most people didn't even realize existed. Which is exactly why a mid-sized service and distribution company in Ontario hired him. At first, things were fine. The company ran on chaos disguised as organization. One program handled inventory, another handled dispatching, another payroll, another finances. Nothing talked to anything else. Employees constantly copied data manually between systems. Mistakes were everywhere. So management decided to modernize. They wanted one system to rule everything. An ERP system. And Bob knew exactly which one to implement.
An ERP system is basically the brain of a company. Orders, inventory, sales, employees, shipping, customers, accounting, everything flows through it. And Bob? He built it. For months, he barely slept. He arrived early, left late, ate lunch at his desk while answering support tickets. He trained warehouse staff, sales teams, accountants, managers who barely knew how to reset passwords. Every department depended on him. And slowly, the company transformed. Information flowed perfectly. Reports appeared instantly. Productivity improved. Management praised the system. But strangely, they never praised Bob. Then leadership decided to expand across Canada. Different time zones. Atlantic employees started sending requests before sunrise. Pacific employees worked hours after Ontario closed. Suddenly, the workday never ended. Bob would arrive at 8 a.m. to a flood of messages marked urgent. "Why didn't you respond? I sent this hours ago. I need help now." He'd stare at the clock. 7:58 a.m. His shift hadn't even started yet. And at night, his phone rang during dinner. His wife would pause mid-conversation while he excused himself again. "Just 1 minute, work issue." It was never 1 minute. Management decided on a solution. 2 IT employees would stagger schedules. Bob would work early mornings. His colleague would cover evenings. But Bob's coworker had kids. He refused the change. Management didn't negotiate. They demanded. So the coworker quit. Just like that, Bob became the entire IT department. Management promised they'd hire another technician. Weeks passed. Then months. They struggled to find someone skilled in the ERP system. Why? Because they were offering far below market salary. Bob knew it. His friends in IT confirmed it. No qualified person would accept that pay. Which meant one thing. They were relying on him to carry everything alone. So Bob finally asked for a raise. Not aggressively, not emotionally, just professionally. "I'm handling the workload of 2 people. Can we review compensation?" Management's answer? No. He asked about overtime. They informed him calmly that IT specialists were exempt from overtime laws. He checked. They were right. Legally, they didn't have to pay him more. And from that moment forward, something changed inside Bob.
The emails kept coming. Missed a call at 6:05 a.m.? Lecture. Didn't answer during dinner? Complaint. Training new hires, fixing hardware, maintaining servers, supporting every department. All alone. He wasn't treated like an expert. He was treated like infrastructure. Invisible until something broke. One afternoon, after being scolded for not answering a message sent before his shift, Bob sat quietly at his desk. The office buzzed around him, forklifts beeping, phones ringing, and for the first time, he stopped trying to fix things. Instead, he started thinking, if they only respect rules, then I'll use the rules. The ERP system tracked everything. Every login, every logout, every minute employees were active. Even if someone forgot to sign out, the system automatically logged time usage. Out of curiosity, Bob ran a report. Just one employee. Then another. Then another. His eyes widened. Almost everyone in the company worked more than 44 hours per week. They came early, stayed late, answered after-hours emails, and according to Ontario labor law, non-management salaried employees were still legally entitled to overtime pay. The company had unknowingly created a massive liability, and Bob had the proof. Bob didn't act immediately. He was careful, calculated. First, he contacted an employment lawyer. He explained everything. The lawyer reviewed the data, then said the words that changed everything. This is completely legal. Bob didn't hack anything, didn't alter data, didn't sabotage systems. He simply gathered factual reports generated by company software. Next step, he quietly secured another job. Better pay, better respect, better hours. Once his new contract was signed, he resigned. Management barely reacted. No counteroffer, no appreciation. Just a quick goodbye. To them, he was replaceable. Bob didn't act immediately. He was careful, calculated. First, he contacted an employment lawyer. He explained everything. The lawyer reviewed the data, then said the words that changed everything. This is completely legal. Bob didn't hack anything, didn't alter data, didn't sabotage systems. He simply gathered factual reports generated by company software. Next step, 2 weeks after his departure, employees across the company opened their inboxes. Subject line, "You are legally entitled to overtime pay." Attached, an Excel file personalized for each worker. Detailed records showing every hour worked beyond legal limits, dating back years. Inside the email was also the contact information of an employment lawyer, the same lawyer Bob had consulted. Within days, nearly every employee contacted the lawyer. The office exploded into chaos. Meetings, panic, emergency calls. Management realized too late what had happened. They weren't facing one complaint. They were facing almost the entire workforce. The company that refused one reasonable raise now faced massive overtime settlements. Negotiations dragged on, lawyers involved, financial damage piling up, millions lost, all because they refused to fairly compensate the one person who understood their system. The irony? Bob never broke a rule. He simply revealed the truth hidden in their own data. No shouting, no destruction, just cold legal accountability. And somewhere else, At his new job, Bob finally left work on time. Phone silent, dinner uninterrupted. For the first time in years, peace. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is letting consequences catch up to people who believed they were untouchable. Respect costs far less than exploitation, and that company learned the hard way. Never underestimate the quiet expert holding everything together. If this story satisfied your sense of justice, hit that like button. Tell me in the comments, have you ever seen workplace karma hit this perfectly? And subscribe for more unbelievable real-life revenge stories that prove one thing: karma always finds a way. See you in the next story.